Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about pretty much everything streaming, whether it's directly related or not. I'm Clyde. Today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hey, Clyde.
And Jimmy Trammell is back.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Back in town.
You're back, but we're still short a mic.
Yeah, well, you know, somebody has to take it. Yeah, it's vacation season, right?
It is.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, people going off doing their fun things, and I guess he's having a good time, so it's fine.
Yeah. Now,
We'll hold down the fort.
Now, Jimmy, was that your first time seeing the new Open?
The new Open. Oh, yeah, it was.
I saw a little bit of befuddlement in your eyes when.
Yeah, it had very nice graphics. Was that Joltman that did that?
Absolutely, Joltman keeps providing us with stuff, even though we didn't ask, and it was like more than we wanted. So, again, thanks a lot, Joltman.
Definitely.
Yeah, he is definitely a patron, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Of the show.
Absolutely.
So,
why not?
a true patron. Patron of our arts, if you could call them arts.
2 thumbs up for that one, Joltman.
All right. Well, I mean, what's going on, guys? Anything new? Will in the chat says that he's going to be on vacation next week.
Oh, man. Can't believe it.
I know.
Everybody's got to stop taking vacations. You know that?
I just got back from vacation. I was out in Las Vegas.
That's right. Did what happened in Vegas stay in Vegas?
Yeah, some of my money stayed in Vegas.
A lot of your money stayed in Vegas?
That's what's supposed to happen.
And you know what? That's the way they want it.
Yeah. But, you know, had fun, saw some shows. My wife and I, you know, enjoyed ourselves out there. Had some good food.
Cool.
Didn't lose too much money, but I lost a little bit. You know what it is. It's up one night, down the other. Right?
Yeah.
It's not bad. Maybe, they got your money in the end, but you had fun in the meantime. That's what matters.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's all entertainment, right?
Rock on.
A form of entertainment that requires you to put money on the table.
Literally.
And you can't expect to see it coming back.
See, I'll just walk into the casino, hand him some money, and just walk out. It's easier that way.
Open the door and just throw the cash.
Yeah, so just hand it to the first person that works there. It's
just go in there and make it rain.
No, you'd probably get detained by security for that, for causing like a
cause a riot.
Yeah.
Well, just yell jackpot before you do it.
Is that kind of like yelling fire in a crowded theater? Would you get in trouble for that? No.
Yeah.
So it's just a question, because I've never been to Atlantic City. Is Atlantic City exactly like Las Vegas, or is it in some way different?
It's a scaled down version of Las Vegas.
Scaled down version.
But wouldn't you say that Atlantic City has been there and been that for much longer than Vegas? Because like gambling and stuff in Atlantic City and casinos, that goes way back, like early turn of the century.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it goes back further than Las Vegas, certainly.
But they didn't they like try to reinvent themselves after Vegas took off as the East Coast Vegas? I've never been there. Me
neither. I just know people have talked about it, and I go, is it like Vegas? Is it got a lot of theme parks and things like that to do besides gambling, or is it all just gambling?
I think everything.
You got the boardwalk there, right? You get the beach and all that. So if you go in the summertime, it can be like a beach vacation, as well as, you know, the adults going to shows or something like that at night.
There is a documentary about Atlantic City you can watch. It's called Boardwalk Empire, starring Steve Buscemi.
Very good show. Like that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I think he, what is it they call him in the show? Nucky Thompson.
Yep.
But actually, I think the real person's name was Lucky Thompson, right? Which was a
his name was Enoch. His name was Enoch.
Right.
And I think they could, I don't know. But
yeah.
No, it was an okay show. Yeah.
That's what the guys in New Jersey tell me anyway.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I don't know a lot of New Jersey facts other than you're not allowed to pump your own gas, and they have a lot of roundabouts.
That is also true.
And that's where, like, the... what was that reality show with the orange people and the spiky hair? Jersey Shore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Heard of that.
That's the Bros.
I don't really know what it's about.
Yeah. It's about the Bros. The Bros from Jersey.
Bros, man. The Bros from Jersey, what do? They go surfing.
No, there ain't waves on the East Coast.
Well, I don't know.
Alrighty. Hey, with that, I bet there was probably some news this week.
There was a little bit of news this week. We're going to start with a story about DirecTV making an announcement that they're going to move their DirecTV to the next generation platform. AT&T is looking to move everything over to what looks like a standard DirecTV package for everybody. Part of this move includes, finally, hopefully this summer, a DVR package for the DirecTV Now service, and other things such as downloadable content and 4K HDR support. And the service should be fully implemented by 2018, so next year. Well, okay. I'm hoping the DVR is coming soon. This is the big news, is that we're going to get finally DVR.
I would just be happy to have it on the Roku, because as far as I know, it's still not available on the Roku. But then again, I guarantee that with the new version, AT&T will offer some packages to AT&T wireless subscribers, and I will still not be part of the correct unlimited plan.
One thing I do find interesting in this story was delivering the 4K content, right? I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe it's only 10 movies that they have that are in 4K, but at least they are offering it. What I'd really like to see is a content provider like them to provide a 4K service. Perhaps they'll do that in 2018. I don't know, but wishful thinking on my part, at least, anyway.
It looks like this is them pushing for the capability of doing that. Whether they're going to have the content is another question, but it looks like this is them gearing up for the ability to do that. So, hopefully, and when more channels become 4K and more HDR and more channels and more bandwidth becomes available for everybody at home, this will be a more common feature in the future.
Yeah.
Rock on. Yep.
Next story we have is a story about Netflix. The Netflix story here we have is talking about how Netflix and HBO are basically duking it out. And in the most amazing twist of ever, Netflix is now more popular than HBO.
What did that headline read?
How Netflix is winning the Game of Thrones against HBO.
That sounds interesting.
So it's talking about the fact that they had a huge growth in that for this last quarter. This last quarter they now have 103 million subscribers, and it's a huge leap over what they were expecting, and it has caused their stock to rise, and they actually now are worth more than HBO, which is pretty impressive.
No. They're not worth more than HBO.
I'm incorrect.
They are worth more than HBO's owner,
Time
Warner, which is even bigger.
Right.
Wow.
So they've gone past the creators of the Game of Thrones and Wonder Woman, and so they are really the question is, when are they going to hit the ceiling? That's what I always wonder: is are they going to
there's
or are they going to hit a top and suddenly start diving?
There's always going to be a capacity because there are only so many subscribers out there.
Yep.
And you're going to get to a point where even though people are getting old enough, they're going out on their own, they're starting to sign up. Will it be ever still be more than the people that are falling off? So,
right.
A critical mass. Critical mass is the word I was looking for.
That is, in fact, it. And there was a lot of discussion in some of the other shows that have been on about the fact that Netflix has a lot of people who steal their codes, their passwords from friends or borrow passwords.
So does HBO.
I know, but there's the question of whether or not Netflix will eventually start cracking down on that. And same thing with HBO. So,
yeah, I don't think they will. And one other thing I found interesting too is that now Netflix has more subscribers abroad than what they do domestic, right? So, the first time that's happened as well. I think as a result, we saw their stock price go up quite a bit this week.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they expected a 3.2 million increase, and it has gone up 5.2
looks.
Yeah, so that sent that share up nearly 14%. I think it was, which 14%. That's huge.
Yeah,
that is absolutely huge.
It's absolutely huge, especially if you are. Kind of person who likes to follow or investing in the stock market. Me, I think the stock market is just about as good as Vegas, as we were talking earlier. So.
Yeah, I would say my odds with the stock market are just as good as my odds in Vegas. By that, I mean I was a Netflix stock owner. I sold my stock off around 2009. And I was like, well, this is probably about as big as it's going to get because they hit a plateau. And then there in 2010, or it was I'd say probably about 6 months before the streaming launched. And then I went, oh, crap. And then I've just watched it go up and my bank account go down.
Sorry.
Yeah, so... All right.
We're going to move on to another story here. It's Hulu has made a deal with 20th Century Fox. Last week, we talked about the fact that Hulu had made a deal with them in order to get all the animation. This week, they've gotten almost a huge portion of the back catalog moved over, including things like How I Met Your Mother, Glee, Bones, MASH, and a bunch of other shows. The list is actually pretty large.
I mean, they've got a lot of the dramas from NBC, like NYPD Blue, then Saint Elsewhere, MASH, Mary Tyler Moore. But I'm actually pretty excited about the Bob Newhart show. Because that's one, I love the show, but I have not had the chance to be able to go back to the first episode and just watch it through. I've caught episodes out of order here and there.
Very cool.
Now that's Bob Newhart from the 60s, not Newhart from the 80s. I've seen all those.
Well, my wife has been really, really excited to. She loves watching Bones, and so she'll be excited she can now pick up the last season of that. And also, one that I'd have to say, if you haven't seen it, you might like it. The Glades is a very interesting show. You might be interested in. They only had one season. Which is kind of sad, but it's very good actually. If you like it, it's right up in your neck of the woods. So
I'm really hoping that The Finder makes it on there because
The Finder, I think, wasn't that a spinoff?
It was kind of a spinoff of Bones.
Oh.
Yeah, they introduced the characters on Bones and then spun it off, but then shortly thereafter, right after it was canceled, Michael Clark Duncan that died. And he was awesome. He was so awesome in that show. And it was really fun. But
okay. Well, Mike, it sounds like Hulu is sweeping up all the various Fox shows and many of the other ones. So it's going to be the place to go if you want to watch some Fox shows.
It sounds like the all the owners of Hulu, so NBC, ABC, Fox, they're saying, you know what, Netflix, you've got enough, and they're pulling everything back. And they're really, with the launch of the new Hulu TV, they're really trying to position themselves as a Hulu, as a Netflix competitor. And how are you going to do that if a lot of your content that you own can only be watched on the service that you're competing with? So it makes perfect sense.
But it makes me want to ask the question though. Is it more about competing with Netflix, or is it more about being where the eyeballs are going to be? Right? Meaning, being in a streaming service of some sort.
Well, I think that is kind of in the same answer. They want they want the eyeballs, but they want that content they want those eyeballs to be on their service, so they need to make sure they've got as much content as they can. And you really want to start with all the content that you own, because you have control over that.
Right.
It's also the like Jimmy said, the fact that it seems like Hulu has become one of the official winners. So it's being one of the winners means if you put your stuff there, people can get to it easily, which is good. Is my videos freezing?
A little bit, but we thought it was just you were freezing, not your video, because the rest of the room looks fine. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Okay, we're gonna move along to the next story. You can now use Alexa devices to control your Amazon Fire TV in a move that catches up with practically everybody else, well, particularly Google. It looks like the Amazon Alexa will now take commands that will allow you to tell your Fire TV to watch shows. This is a new what do they call it? Skill that you can add to your Alexa, and you have to update what your Fire TV is using your Alexa app on your phone. But after doing that, you should be able to ask Alexa. Or I've been using her name, haven't I? How bad of me!
Nobody's watching this live anyway, so
that's true. Okay, you ask Alexa for you to watch a show, and then there you go.
Well, this article, it's worth noting, this article's like from a week or so ago.
Yeah.
But I threw it in there because I realized we never talked about it, number one. And on a previous show, we had speculated, because we talked about how you can do this with the Google Home already.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And there was speculation. We weren't sure exactly whether or not you could already do it with the Fire TV. And if you couldn't, that it was probably going to be soon. And so, there you go.
There it is.
They're doing it. So,
well, that's good, because this is the kind of thing that it should be able to do pretty easily.
Yeah,
you should be able to.
And that's one of the things that should be ubiquitous with one of these platforms. As I was talking with someone in Discord the other day about this very topic, the subject came down, which is better, Google Home or Android TV. And it really comes down to, they are very similar. It really comes down to what ecosystem are you invested in. If you're primarily a Google person, you've got a Chromecast, then Google Home is probably where you want to go. If you have a Fire TV and you buy stuff on Amazon, then probably want an Echo. And that's really what it comes down to. If you're invested in Apple, then you just have to choose one of these for the time being, because
you can't spend all that money for the speaker.
Yeah, for a speaker at this point until they.
Ooh.
So eventually they'll have an option.
Yeah. So I wonder which one of these guys can you also order a pizza by voice?
I think Google.
Definitely the Amazon. Definitely the Amazon. You can get the skill, and I believe Domino's has basically worked with every single device out there in the world, because I think you can do it with your Xbox and with your PlayStation View and inside World of Warcraft.
I'm pretty sure that Google Home will allow you to make phone calls using Google Voice.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So then you can just say, "Hey, call Domino's," Hey, yeah. I don't
well,
know
you will
what
be
the code is.
the voice feature that is that allows you to call any number isn't live yet. They're going to
Oh,
do
okay.
that.
That's right.
So, but they have said, yeah, sure, you'll be able to call any number, any landline.
Oh, that's right. There was that article about the Google smartphone or smart radio that called 911. And they're like, wait, what is a smart radio? And on the 911 call, you could hear them saying, did Google call 911? So if it called 911, how did it get recorded that of them asking it to call 911? Because that would have happened before the
so
but yeah,
here's what that people think happened, and I can kind of clarify for you. First of all, it wasn't a Google smart radio.
No.
It wasn't even a Google Home.
No.
It was an Alexa. Alexa apparently can call people that are in your contacts, and apparently they had the police in the contacts.
Yeah, like the sheriff's
and
department.
Somehow in their conversation, the Amazon Echo picked up the keyword to pick it up and heard call the police or call the sheriff's office or whatever, and it did. And it was on the phone with them, and they could hear it. And they were recording it because they record all the calls, and so there you go. They had they could hear this whole argument happening. So,
well, thank goodness he wasn't singing "I Shot the Sheriff," huh?
No, because then it would probably report you. It would probably submit an anonymous report to the police to the tip line.
I feel like Max Headroom here with my everything being jerky.
Well, don't be jerky.
Okay,
Matt,
I'll try not
stop being jerky.
to. Okay.
All right. And
right,
hey, there was one more big article.
Yeah, Apple released tvOS 10.2.2.
That's it. That's all there is. That's all there is to report on that.
Yeah, basically just move along. Nothing to see here.
Yep.
Right?
No
Just bug
features.
fixes.
No anything. Just okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? This is like record time, so we need something to talk about.
Oh man, something to talk about.
Let's give them something to... Oh, wait, no, we don't want to do that. Well, I'll stop singing, otherwise everybody will turn off right now. Hey, Jimmy, didn't you recently cut the cord?
I did. Last January I did.
And in this time, how has that been?
Well, it's been pretty good, right? Because what actually facilitated me cutting the cord was my previous internet service provider was Comcast, right? And they imposed data caps. And that last November they did that. And so January, AT&T started offering fiber service in my neighborhood. So that's what really prompted me to want to cut the cord. And so I did. I cut the cord. And, I got to looking back at that here recently to see, just how good is that, right? And when I look at it, there were certain streaming services that just kind of remained constant, right? That I had these services regardless if I had cable or not, right? Mm-hmm. One was Netflix, Hulu, and HBO. So those three services I maintain even after I cut, even before I cut the cord and after I cut the cord. And so and recently too, to make up for live streaming, I subscribe to the Hulu live streaming service. And so even when I factor that in, I'm still paying about $30 less than what I was when I had Comcast.
Nice.
Right. And I have faster internet, and it's unlimited, no capped internet as well.
Now, what I would ask is, it's great that you're saving money, but do you still have access to everything that you want? Or is there something that you are having to give up because that you just have to, whatever?
Well, before before the Hulu Live came about, and that came about just like in the last
Yeah.
couple of months or so, I was having to live without ESPN, right? So I had an ESPN app on the Apple TV where I could get clips and that kind of thing, but I couldn't really watch like the Sports Center or anything like
Some
that.
might say that that's a benefit.
Yes, some would. Also, the Golf Channel was something else too that I gave up, there for a while. But now that I have the Hulu Live TV, I have that as well.
I'm sorry, did I hear you incorrectly? Did you say the Goth channel?
Yes.
Yes.
They walk around in brightly colored clothes in grassy meadows.
Yeah.
I haven't
chased a little white ball
since
around.
since Lee Trevino retired. I haven't watched a lot of golf. Unfortunately,
he was one of my,
No, I don't think
It's
you
a sword
understood
fight.
what I said.
I did.
As a-
I
okay.
just chose to move on. They're brightly colored goths.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a good experience, I have to say. And even with the Hulu Live, that kind of filled in the few little gaps that I might have had. I mean, for the most part, I'm a video on demand watcher. I hardly watch things live, hardly at all, unless it is a sporting event such as Wimbledon or something like that, right? But uh, so I've not really, now that I've got the Hulu Live, I really don't miss anything, and I'm still paying $30 less than what I did before.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and as I was saying before the show, for me, it's really hard to quantify whether or not I'm saving or paying anything just because of how long ago I cut the cord and the situation for which I cut it. Because I didn't really cut the cord, they cut me off by switching to digital, and I refused to pay the additional prices to get a box put into my house, and they said, screw you and your box. But unfortunately at that point, that was before Netflix streaming. The only options were whatever came with your off-the-shelf proprietary box. So I had like a Sony streaming box is what it was called. It was like Sony streaming, whatever. It had like Crackle and Vivo. Didn't have Netflix yet. Didn't have... it had a kind of rudimentary YouTube, and then moved from that to the Google TV, and then things have gotten better over the years. But I remember there was a point right there at the beginning, went from the point where my TiVo was always full to I have nothing to watch, and had to come up with interesting ways to get stuff off the internet to my TV, including running programs on my computer like Play On, which also then let me watch stuff on my phone when I was out of the house by port forwarding. Because you could get a lot of content like Hulu from your computer, but it wasn't available on a TV.
Right.
So I'm glad those days are gone.
Did anybody ever own a Boxy box?
I built
I
a
never
Boxy
did.
before it was a actual off-the-shelf product. Yeah, I built a Boxy out of an old computer, but it was kind of sketchy, and I went back to Xbox or XBMC.
Yeah, that was my first streaming device, was a Boxy box, and then later Apple come out with the first Apple TV, and I bought one of those as well.
Okay.
No, so it's interesting because we've always been talking, my wife and I, about the idea of cutting the cord, what that would do for us. And one advantage of cutting the cord is that yes, you are saving a little bit of money, but more importantly, when you're on vacation, you can use most of those services. Versus what I currently have, which is Xfinity, which there's a way to get it remotely, but I've never seemed to get it to work, and it's always been a problem for us. But here's the thing. I don't have very many choices other than Xfinity for my own internet here. So if I decided to cut the cord and try to lower my bill, which is a little bit over, a little bit over $100, maybe $120 right now. If I turn it off and just internet at the speed that I want, it's only going to be $90 a month. That's not very good. That's only $30 less. And
but it's still $30 less.
But then I'd have to pay probably more than $30 for other services in order to get things up and running again. So, is it better to keep it? And that's kind of been where we've been right for a little while. So we've been kind of staying on the cable for a little while longer while we're deciding to, we're looking at the different options or waiting for something to come in that handles our locals and so.
And that begs the question, right? So if, let's say, somebody like American Telephone and Telegraph were to come in and offer fiber service in your neighborhood, would you consider cutting the cord then?
Yes. I've had fiber before. It's wonderful.
Yep.
Gigabit up, gigabit down, with no data cap is wonderful. Everybody should have it. I don't see why anybody should have to live without it. Quite frankly.
Or maybe even Google Fiber, right?
That'd be great. I don't care.
Well,
and that's
where right now I'm kind of in that position because I could get Prism TV because at my studio I now have CenturyLink fiber, and they have their Prism TV, which is a horrible name because it sounds like prison TV, which is what I think it would be if once you sign that contract, you're in the CenturyLink prison. But it's cable over the fiber. I assume it's exactly what they're going to be offering with the CenturyLink streaming. Since they've already spun up those servers, they may as well send it over the internet as well as over the fiber. But I can't justify. I mean, the starting price is like $75, and I was like, yeah, no.
They make you sign a contract?
I believe it's like a 2-year contract.
Hmm.
But I didn't look too far into it. I saw the prices and I went, nope. I mean, especially since it's at a building where I'm only there a couple nights a week anyway. So,
what kind of data speeds do you get for the 75?
That's just for the Prism TV. I'm paying $45 for like 40 megs. But I could get all the way up to a gig there. I just don't have any reason to pay for a gig right now because I'm still doing this show from my bedroom and not from there.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But so on top of the 45 that I'm paying for the internet would be an additional like $60 to $70 for the basic package of Prison TV. And I'm going to call it Prison TV for the, forever now.
Yeah, I mean, why pay that when you can get like Sling TV for, half the cost, right?
Well, and I mean, you could get the CenturyLink streaming, which we talked about, was it last week or the week before? And that's starting at like $35, has a DVR, but I went to sign up for the free trial and they said, hey, do you have a CenturyLink account? You can just sign in with your CenturyLink account. But it won't do it. It's not working. And I was like, you know what? I'm not putting any more effort into this. And I'm not setting up another account because I already have multiple accounts with CenturyLink because they refused to use my old account that no longer has service. So it's like I'm not creating a third and a fourth CenturyLink account. So
yeah, I don't blame you.
Forget them. So,
but then that asks the question, when does it become, too much? When does it become the point where, we're going to be able to make the jump over and have a different option? When should I be looking at what's available to me and what I should be moving over to that kind of system? Because right now, local channels is a big issue right now.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
And
to me, I think, cutting the cord for me, I've said this before, it's not so much about saving money as just giving me the kind of service that I want, right?
That's true.
I mean, if if it was exactly the same cost, I still would have cut the cord, right? Perhaps maybe even if I had to pay a little bit more, I would have still cut the cord, right? Because
Here's the
now
convenience.
I got the convenience and got the services that I want, right? Versus paying, that price for services that I didn't want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree.
And you were talking about like local services, and for a while that was a big problem for me until I decided, screw CBS. I don't care about your programming anymore, and I don't want to watch it. Once I cut CBS out of my life, streaming became so much easier.
Yeah.
Because they were the only ones that they didn't have thing. And now I'm so far away from CBS that I can't justify spending the money, because not all of the episodes that I need to watch to go catch up to, what I missed over the last 2.5, 3 years. So it's like, whatever.
Well, for me, it's not just CBS.
I know, it's like news and stuff like that.
It could be solved with things like CBS All Access.
Mm-hmm.
It's things like the fact that there's shows that we want to watch that are on NBC and on Fox and on CW and various other channels that are local to us here.
Mm-hmm.
But not all of them show up on Hulu.
Yeah.
So
CW shows up on their own app.
Right.
Everything shows up. As I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I got to give them credit. They're doing a really good job with their app. I can see like local stuff, like news and events and stuff like that.
If you want to watch the big game that's supposed to be playing on your local station, and you can't, then every once in a while I want to turn on a Mariners game and watch the Mariners lose.
And
it's great.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You're in an area where antenna is not an option, right?
Well, that's actually my my rants and raves.
Okay.
Oh.
Because if antenna is available, that's how I got around that for a long time. The stuff that wasn't on Hulu that I couldn't stream, I recorded it on my TiVo, and then every once in a while I just switch over to the TiVo and watch it, and then usually because I was rebooting my Roku for an update, and once the TV, that input's down for more than a couple seconds, my TV switches back to whatever's active. So it forced me on my TiVo, and I'd go, oh yeah, TiVo, what do you have? I went in there yesterday. There's only one thing on my TiVo, and it's that episode of Good Eats that's been on my TiVo for like 6 years, because I can't bring myself to delete it. That's why I went, I think I need to disconnect this thing, because I'm not using it. It's just eating power. It's slowly chewing up the life on my battery backup. But so right now I'd say this is probably the best time ever for someone that wants to cut the cord. It's very easy. Are you going to save a lot of money? Not necessarily. But you may gain. You
can save.
You can, but not everybody's gonna, because everybody has different requirements of stuff they need, and they'll have to resubscribe. You may not save more money or a whole lot of money, but you will gain a whole lot of convenience. That is the best thing, because even if even if you replace it. Go ahead.
You go first.
You go.
No.
You go.
I guarantee you should go.
Yeah. All right, fine. No, I was going to say, because even if you replace, let's say you've got a $60 cable bill, and you replace it with a $60 PlayStation View service, you're going to get a lot of the stuff that you wanted, probably all of the stuff that you wanted, and the stuff that you can't watch on demand, there's the DVR. And it's a DVR, you don't have to worry about, did the power go out and not record? Right. Did the hard drive fail because it's spinning for 10 years in 150 degree heat? So you lose a lot of you lose a lot of the things that would have caused problems if you had done it yourself. And you don't have to think about it. All you have to do is just like something, and then it'll automatically record it, whether you want to watch it or not, right?
Yeah, and if you really want to be cheap, you could always share that login, right?
No, because
No,
PlayStation
you can't
is
do
region
that.
locked. It's locked to your IP address. Because you can't like when I go to Vegas in January for CES, I could not watch my own account on my own computer because I'm in a different state. So
Right.
Wow.
Eventually, we'll have a future where you want to watch a show, you won't know or care what channel it's on. You're just gonna go ahead and say, "Hey, show me the newest show," and it'll say, "Hey, by the way, that's part of your already existing service, or you don't have that service, so you're gonna have to pay $2.99 for this episode." And you're like, "Cool, that's great," and then you go.
That is not the future. That is my reality. I have no idea. Otherwise, there are days like the other day I was like, oh, I've been watching this show, but I don't even know what service it was on. I had to click around through a couple different apps, and I went, oh, yeah, it's Showtime. But, I mean, other stuff, I don't care who made it or where it came from. It's on Hulu. I just watch it.
You know, one thing I wanted to report back to you guys, when I was on vacation out in Las Vegas, the TV that was in the hotel room had Netflix, Hulu. What else did it have? Oh,
HBO. Sure.
HBO. Yeah, the apps where you could log in with your own account and watch it right there.
Cool.
And you trusted it to log it off when you left, or?
I didn't.
I would have smashed the TV with a hammer, personally.
I wasn't going to log in with my credentials. No.
Oh,
but,
all right.
But I mean, but it was there if you want. You show.
Yeah, which is
do that.
Which is cool. It's something that we talked about almost a year ago, and it's cool to see that happening. Now, I'm curious, what kind of TV was it? Was it like actually on the TV, or did they have a box sitting there?
No, you know, I don't know how they served it up to the television.
Okay.
Right. I'm assuming that they had some central point where they did that, but it was just through the coaxial cable that was in the back of the television. Right. So it was Samsung televisions.
Okay.
But this wasn't the software built into the television. This was coming from some other central point.
If it was coax as opposed to HDMI, then there had to have been a box sitting there probably on the back of the TV that you were controlling with the remote, because you wouldn't be able to send the commands over the coax back down to the main computer and then back. So
no, see, the way it would work is like, say you turn it on channel 2 and it would be like some channel 3 would be something, and then channel 4 would be Netflix.
Oh,
right. And then like maybe channel 6 would be Hulu. So it was some other centrally controlled point in the hotel somewhere.
Interesting.
And did you control Hulu and Netflix with the same remote, or did you like have to launch your phone app or something?
You could control it with the remote as well. And these weren't standard Samsung remotes. They were some other kind of remote. I don't know what it was.
Very cool. Well, we're getting closer to the future that we need and we want for being able to be a cord cutting society. Eventually, hopefully, some of these middlemen will kind of be swallowed up by other companies and they'll disappear, because right now, quite frankly, Prism TV and which is a service, and Comcast TV, which is a service, should just disappear, and you should be able to just watch your shows because you have a TV package or an internet access through one of these companies like a Hulu or Netflix or a PlayStation View or whomever. So.
Well, I mean, look at AT&T. They had the Uverse television. Now you don't really see that too much. Now they're pushing the DirecTV Now.
Right. Well, so ever since they bought DirecTV Now, they probably were thinking, yeah, it's more popular. Let's just move over to that.
They need to get rid of everything Uverse.
They are.
I still have nightmares about having to call Uverse on a daily basis on someone's behalf, and I've dealt with pretty much every internet carrier in the country, and I can absolutely say that Uverse was the worst.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I've never dealt with Uber, so
Don't.
probably a good thing.
If they move to your area, cut all the cords and
Now,
go live in the country. And
if it's
be,
AT&T fiber, though, that is a good service because I have that now.
Okay.
Okay.
As long as it's not branded Uverse.
No, it's not branded Uverse at all.
Because I've been relatively happy with AT&T Wireless. I mean, I've been a customer with them for like 10 years, so I mean, that says a lot. I'm very picky, and I will get angry about stuff easily and, tell them to pound sand. But I'm still their customer, so.
Okay.
But Uverse, it's kind of like with Comcast. I talk about Comcast Residential and Comcast Business. I can't understand how they're the same company, because night and day. And it's kind of the same way with that. The Uverse stuff versus the AT&T, pretty much anything else I've dealt with them, it's like, what is the problem? Where's the disconnect? So.
Right.
All right. Any other thoughts before we move on to the rants and the raves?
You can't see it, but I'm shaking my head no.
Oh, I can now. Alrighty then. Well, that brings us to the next segment. Alright, I'm going to have to judge that a little bit better next time. But, hey, rants and raves. Jimmy, you were gone last week, so why don't you go ahead? What you got this week?
Well, I was actually traveling on Sunday, and I got to...
Nothing happened on Sunday, so it's not a big deal.
I was traveling on Sunday, missed the premiere of the new seasons of Game of Thrones.
I bet you the travel was so light, the roads were so empty. I bet you it was like, where is everybody? It's so quiet.
Yeah, it was funny that there was no delayed flights on Sunday, right? So, but yeah, so once I got back from the trip, and I just got back today, so tonight, actually, just before the show, I got to catch up on it and see the premiere of Game of Thrones, and I have to say it was quite excellent. Of course, I've been watching this show since season 1. Really all into it, and I have to say they're really doing a good job on that show. If you haven't watched this show and you're an HBO subscriber, go out there and just start with season 1 and get all caught up, because it's really an excellent show.
See, the people that are going to be, I'm waiting for the riots when people find out that this season is actually only like 5 episodes.
But they're gonna take a little break and then do another half season.
Well, they took the final season and they cut it into 2, so it's only a half season. You're not going to get the second season until next year.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be.
No, that's going to be season 8.
See, it was delayed anyway, right?
That's
delayed already,
partly
right?
why. Yeah. And it was like, and I'll say I absolutely loved the first season. I went into it with no idea. I'd never read any of the books. I've never even heard of the books. Mm-hmm. Someone was like, you got to watch this, you got to watch this, you got to watch this. And so I watched it, and I loved the first season. And then enough time went by after the second season, because they didn't have HBO on demand. If you didn't have HBO, you had to get creative.
Right.
And so it was probably another year and a half, 2 years before I saw season 2. And as the seasons went on, I've kind of lost interest. And, everybody was raving about the season opener. And I watched it on Sunday night and went, okay. I wasn't enthralled, but I guess there's a lot that I just didn't pick up on that I like. Until I heard Brian and Tom talking about it in spoiler in time, and there was a couple things I realized, that castle that she went to, I was like, why have we never seen this castle before? Why is like it been empty this whole time and nobody's like been squatting there? And then I find out, oh, we did see it. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that castle has a lot of history to it.
Apparently.
Well, I'm the oddball here because I've only seen season 1 and I have not seen any more of Game of Thrones.
You know, season 1 was awesome because it was all new. It was all just like, what the hell is going on? And you're just getting hit with all this stuff out of nowhere for someone that's never read the books, that's not familiar with the characters. Yeah. And then it just kind of got more and more plotting. And then you start to realize, oh, yeah, I can't really care about any character because if they're a good character, they're probably going to get killed. And the one character, Sansa, that needed to die like a couple seasons ago is still kicking. And it's like, yeah. So, all right.
That sounds cool.
Sorry to, yeah.
You kind of took over his rave.
Hey. No. Hey,
he can do the same to mine.
Okay. Feel free to jump in.
Well, I have a little rave too, sort of. As I mentioned last week, during the big sales that were going on, I purchased myself a really cheap antenna, and this little monoprice guy came in the mail this last couple.
Is that the 60 or 600 mile or 60 mile one that we were talking about?
If it was 600 mile, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Go to a monoprice, get the 600 mile model.
That's the Mohu, right?
No, you get the monoprice.
This is a monoprice model. It cost me $8 and change.
Yeah.
Seriously, very good deal. And I'm impressed after me playing with it for a little while and trying to get angles out of my bedroom out on my on the third floor of my apartment. I know it's 3 stories. I was able to get 19 channels.
Wow.
Which I'm very flabbergasted that I was able to get all that many. So that's great. Except for the channels I got. There's only 2 I want to watch.
Same problem.
2 out of 19. You want shopping networks, religious channels, channels in Spanish that I can't understand, kids channels.
Do you at least get the Private Eye Show channel and the old people channel? And,
actually, I did.
I love those.
I did get the 2 channels of basically Airwolf and Night Court. So it was like, okay, great, that's cool. Those aren't the 2 I was looking for, but those are still pretty cool channels. So all you need is Airwolf and Night Court. I need to make that a title.
And now I assume I know this answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Did you go to antennaweb.org and look up the antennas to see where to position it?
I did. I used a couple of TV Fool and all the other ones that are out there.
TV
and
Fool,
the cool thing is that it's basically from where I am, I need to be pointing north by northwest.
Mm-hmm.
The bad news is how my apartment is set up. The apartment next door jets out along my west side of my house, and so I really am being cut off.
Yeah.
A whole of that. So I actually think, since I've been looking at the map, since I can get CBS reliably, I think I should be able to get also the NBC, the ABC, and the Fox one that's in Seattle, if I could just get around that apartment. Now, this guy here, it is designed to be. It's not actually designed to go outside. But it is weather resistant, so it can handle a little rain, and I could probably design a mount for this thing. So
what you should do is talk to the person in that apartment and say, "Hey, can I put this antenna in your apartment?"
Can I run a wire in one window and then out the other window on the other side?
There are lots of wires running along the side of his apartment anyways.
It's an apartment. You're expecting to see drooping old wires that have been hanging there for 20 years.
Well, but there's the problem we have an HOA here, and we asked when we came if we could put our dish in, and they said, nope, we don't want to see a dish. Now, is this a dish? Now, that's against the law, technically.
Yeah.
Technically, that's against the law. they can't stop me from putting the dish up. But we decided not to fight it anyways. But
yeah.
it's a dish. It's cute. It's
Yeah,
okay.
they would... Anything that is not standard... If everybody had one of those, then it would be okay. But then they wouldn't... They would probably say no because it's an eyesore if everybody had one of those. Yeah. HOA, no way. You can quote me on that one. All right. Well, hope you get better luck with that. Keep at it.
Yeah, I intend to play with it. There are apparently a couple channels I can get if I point it south, and I would have to go into my son's bedroom to try that out. But
Well, what you can do is actually what Tom is doing. He's got like 2 antennas that he's got connected with a splitter, to one. So then he's got one facing one way and then the other facing off at a different angle. So he's able to get everything, and then it goes into one feed.
Oh.
So, because that's
idea.
the problem I had here. I could either get all of the channels and not CBS, or I could get sort of CBS and none of the channels. So I was like, all right, screw you, CBS. All right. But for my rave, I've been watching a show on Showtime. It's a new show called I'm Dying Up Here. If you haven't watched it, and you are interested in the 1970s comic scene, so like comedians in LA, you might like this show. I will note, it is probably the first thing that Jim Carrey has created or produced that has been watchable in probably 20 years. He
Good
does
for him.
not appear in it, which is another plus. It features mostly unknown talent, but you do have some well-known people here and there in like bit parts. So it's a very it's one of these period pieces that a lot of people have been doing lately. Like if anybody watched Vinyl last year, which was about the record industry in the early 70s. It didn't get picked up for renewal, but it was a great show. I'm hoping this one will get better attention. This one's on Showtime as opposed to HBO, so I think the stakes are a lot lower.
Well, comics in the 1970s, they were 2, right?
Well, no, but that's the thing, because this is like the big boom. They make a joke. There's a joke in the very first episode that said, hey, Vietnam is coming to an end. So the comics are coming home from Canada. Yeah, comedians are coming home. And you think they're talking about from the war. And they're like, from Canada, because that's where we went. But yeah, it's the big comedy boom of the early, mid-70s. And it's, day-to-day life, how, scraping by, working other jobs, and It's a really good show. It's witty and it's gritty, and it looks like the LA that I kind of sort of remember from my childhood before things got better.
Showtime?
As the 80s went on. Yeah, on Showtime.
Showtime? Gonna have to check that one out.
Yep, it's comes on Sunday nights. Oh, and I also found out there's 2 shows coming back to Showtime that I thought were gone. Episodes with Matt LeBlanc. That's the one where the TV company hires 2 British writers to come do a U.S. version of their show, and they just completely destroy it, rewrite it, and cast Matt LeBlanc. He plays himself, and he is amazing playing a parody of himself in his real life with his real kids and real situations, and that's back. And also there was a self-titled show about Andrew Dice Clay called Dice, which is kind of like a reality show, but not really, about him trying to, because he lives in Vegas, and him trying to jumpstart or restart his career, and all the things that keep going wrong. It's funny. It is really funny. I thought the show was canceled. Apparently, there's another season coming here this month, or in August, for both of those. So, Showtime. I am really happy with Showtime right now. Go Showtime. All right. Anything else before we wrap this up?
Not really. I think it's been a normal week. We don't even had very many normal weeks.
I know.
Have we? It's been.
It's
the fact that
smooth.
it's normal
Maybe Mike needs to be gone more often.
Oh,
Jim,
no.
that's the thing. Jimmy, you're here, but Mike's not.
Yeah.
Stick around. We'll have to encourage Mike to travel.
No, I don't think.
Well,
that'll
like I
work.
said, you could get that frozen picture of the episode last week and just put it up there, right?
Yeah.
And then he's here.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me again this week. Those of you in the chat room, thank you so much. Make sure you get those episode titles in. We'll do the remind, because I can do that now.
Yay.
And yeah, we'll get those. Go out to Showbot TV or .tv and vote. Start voting. We will be back next week on Wednesday, 9 p.m. here on DiamondClub.tv.
Yep.
For past episodes, you can find us on YouTube. Just look for the VOD Squad. You should be able to find it. Otherwise, if you want to correspond with us, send us hate mail, send us love letters. If you want to send me money, PM me, and I'll give you an address. Otherwise, you can write to us on Twitter at the VOD Squad, or on Gmail it's Gmail, I can't talk all of a sudden, the VOD Squad at gmail.com. But, all right. Well, until next week, I bid you all adieu.
Bye, everybody.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.